All right, I can't open my eyes right now because it hurts too much. But thank you for watching Not Rocket Science.
Well, it's
All
not
right.
the end.
It's not rocket science.
Not rocket science. Not rocket science.
It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science.
Blast off. Welcome to... Did that scare you?
Yes.
Okay. Blast. I'll say it quietly. Blast off.
That was even more creepy, by the way.
Blast off. Welcome to Not Rocket Science. In this episode, we'll be learning from professional mime Dean Evans all about miming.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited.
So, Anthony, you want to tell the audience, the listeners, what the show's all about?
Of course.
Thank you.
And since the theme of the day is mime, I'm going to do this miming, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
Do you
please.
mime?
I don't mime at all.
Isn't that cute how we did that? Okay.
And I'll try and describe what you're doing.
You want to describe my
Yeah.
mime.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Matty. He's me. We teach you, we pat you on the shoulder and we 1 second. 1 second, he's pointing. He's pointing. We tell you about that and we tell you about this and this and now he's holding like a now he's making a drink or something. That's a fire extinguisher. Very good, very good. We teach you about fire, and we powder your nose. We teach you about how to powder your nose, and how to honk your nose. And a clown. He's a clown. Gotcha. Very good.
And I'm not
Very
going to
good.
say astrologist. Oh, I say up. That's the star. If anything of that was
Yeah.
confusing, I hope it wasn't. So,
Yeah.
pretty much I was trying to say via mime, as
Yes.
some of you probably noticed
Yes, our
and
listeners,
saw. We learned something new from a professional. Well, I could do it too.
Because after all, learning, it's not what, Anthony? It's not rocket science. First, before we start, our producer, Chris Dotson, and his wife, Almy, from the Something About Astrology podcast are at Disneyland today.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Lucky ducks.
Hi, Chris.
Hey guys, hi Almy. How's Disneyland?
Hi, Matty and Anthony. We are coming to you from the hottest place on earth. I mean, the happiest place on earth. We have not seen any mimes today. We did see some mice, though. We saw Mickey and Minnie earlier.
I'm surprised because we are on Mime Street.
Babes, I think it's technically called Main Street.
That explains it. That
Yeah.
explains it.
It's not Mime Street.
Okay.
And there are a few people over there who aren't talking, but I don't think they're mimes. I think they're just not talking at the moment. So if we see any mimes, we'll be sure to report back. But in the meantime, we love you guys and hope you're having a great podcast. Talk to you soon.
Way to go.
Main Street and Mime Street. I would make that mistake.
I would too. That's
So
an
don't
easy
you
mistake,
feel
so
don't you feel
don't-
guilty,
Yeah,
Almy?
don't feel too bad about yourself. Well, thank you, Chris and Almy, for the update. So you had a crazy story about your Lyft driver. You were a little bit late today.
Yeah. Well, I got into the car, and he was blasting. I guess is it EDM, like really fast music? Isn't that
Oh
what it-
God!
And then he was like, "Hey
raver?
man," yeah, he was like, "Doo, doo, doo," and he had the same color hair as my shirt, and he's like, "Love
Carrot Top."
Well, no, it was like dyed, and he was like,
Okay.
he's like, "Nice shirt, I love the color," and I was like, "Reminds me of your hair," and he's like, "I didn't notice," and I was like, "Oh my God, what's happening?" And then he's like, "Hey man, I gotta be honest with you, I haven't slept yet," and I was like, "Oh God, you haven't slept. You got to get some rest if you're driving." I was thinking. Yeah, I didn't say that to him.
God.
And he's just like, "You haven't slept for a really long time."
Oh
and I was
God,
like,
that's terrifying.
he was like, "I'm just kind of over it." And I was like, "What?" It's like, "I'm oversleeping, all right?" But he said it like that, and I was like, "Yeah." You get crappy when you don't sleep, I guess. So he was just driving, and then he was like, I hate this city. I hate this city. And I was like, what city do you want to live in? And he was like, I want to live in New Jersey. And I was like, well, that's a state. But
Was he a wrestler? Because he sounds like a wrestler.
no, I think he was listening to EDM. He was just wild, and then
a wrestling EDM guy.
Yeah. So it was pretty crazy.
Wow.
I was scared because he was like looking at his phone. He kept stomping on the brakes. I did give him a good review though, because I'm bad at review. I don't want to be mean to people, but it scared me. So that's what happened. I was a bit scared.
I'm glad you're here and you made it. Thank you. Yeah, and we were setting up here. Our editor producer Ryan is here. We just had a quick question for you, Ryan. How you doing? Because you had shingles. Are you okay? What was it like?
Yeah, I had shingles.
Jeez.
It's maybe 5 weeks now.
The hell is shingles?
It's getting better now.
What is this
So
shingles?
glad you're okay.
You all right? You're freaking me out a little bit. You seem scared. I don't know.
It's scary. Shingles is scary.
It is?
So it starts off like, I thought I had a bug bite. But
Yeah.
it would be like 20 bug bites because it starts off itching. So
Oh,
I have
yeah.
no idea what it is. And the thing about shingles is you have to catch it within 70 hours. If you don't, it's untreatable. You're stuck with it.
70 hours?
Mm-hmm.
What?
And by the time 70 hours is up, it's like, oh, and now I think I know what it is because it's not this, it's not this, it's not this, it's not that.
You're yelling at me.
It's scary. It's a yelling at kind of a thing.
Yes.
And it explodes on just one side of the
man.
body. It
So
only
glad
comes on
you're
one
okay.
side of the body. And people get it in different areas. You can get it in your eye.
Jeez.
And my friend's dad had it in his eye. He had to have 7 ocular surgeries.
Oh my
This is
gosh.
not a good thing. And
Yeah,
I
I
just
don't
learned
think
from
so.
Mike DeLay that you could get it more than once. There's a vaccine, people. There's a vaccine. Get the vaccine. But it only affects people later in life.
You're starting to sound like the crazy town man that's just yelling in the middle of a street. There's a vaccine, people. There's a vaccine. They're like, we got the vaccine. They're like, no, there's other things you can get a vaccine for, people.
You don't want this. You don't
How
want
long
this.
do you stay contagious for? Like, how long does it?
Yeah, it blisters up.
Yeah.
And it causes pain, and it's, I don't know, I guess a couple weeks. Like a week and a half is the worst.
Oh, man.
Now it's like clear.
Oh,
but
good. You're
everything's
not
fine
contagious
now.
Yeah,
Awesome.
right. You seem
so-
like you're losing
So
your
glad
mind.
you're okay, man.
You're the best. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry about
Yeah.
that.
Don't get shingles.
Yeah. I mean,
Awesome.
yeah. That. Hey, while you're here, it's not. I'm just gonna do something impromptu. I thought it would be kind of fun for me. My birthday's not for a while, but I thought maybe the two of you could sing "Happy Birthday" to me. Please come in, Mike. Please come in.
Happy birthday.
It's not my birthday. My birthday's not for a few months, maybe even 6. But I would like you guys to
Well,
sing
I'm
"Happy
gonna
Birthday."
I'm going to mime a cake that I have a cake.
Thank
and
you.
All right, here we
And
go.
I would really think it would be cool.
Okay.
Let's light-
Here's
light-
the cake.
By the way, I get.
Happy
birthday
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Anthony. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much. You know,
And
candles.
many more.
I lit the candles.
Right there,
Oh, you did lit the
them.
candle.
Yeah.
Here, let me just light this one.
It went out.
Okay.
That's how I blow out candles through a whistle. It's more entertaining. Thank you guys so
Yeah,
much.
of course.
Again, it's not my
Yeah.
birthday for a long time, but I
It-
just
it
like
looked like
that.
you're trying to kiss the cake a little bit. Awesome. Okay,
anyways,
cool.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And sorry about the shingles.
Glad
Thank you
you're
for the
okay.
happy birthday. Maddie, this little more if you don't mind. Maddie, I challenge you. I'm not going to tell you right now what those pies things are, but I challenge you. Do you accept?
I accept.
All right.
I think. Okay.
This is pop and go, my friend. We're going to try to catch these, and the first person who drops it gets a pie in the face. But
Okay.
and if you catch it so the first person who drops the first person who drops it gets pie in the face, or if we both get 3, the first person who gets 3 can say the other person gets pie in the face. You ready?
I'm ready.
Do you guys know what I said? Because I don't. I'll put this out. All right. And so what these things do is you pop it, and you got to catch it, Matty.
Okay. All right, and if I 3 times, if I don't catch it, all right, let's just try it. Okay.
Yeah. So if you drop it right now, you got pie, Dad.
Okay. That's not fair. It went backwards. That tastes really good, actually.
Yum, yum. Give me some. And I just
It's
wanted...
not fair. It went backwards.
That's good pie. Get out of here. Do you want me to? I'll do it on my face. That tastes like pie.
All right. Well, I guess I lost, but that wasn't fair because you had it pointed the wrong way.
I don't know I don't make the rules. I just tell you what they are. Why
All
are you
right, so-
crying? Are you crying?
I can't open my eyes. All right, so let's move to our let's get all cleaned up and move to our interview portion.
It's not rocket science.
Well, I for one am excited about learning about Mime from Dean Evans. Dean is a Los Angeles-based professional mimer/performer, writer, and director. They were named one of the top 50 players by New City Magazine. Wow. They have performed with the Second City, I.O., the Goodman, Cirque Du Soliel. Did I say that right?
Close enough.
Oh, shoot. Okay. What is it? How
It's
do you say
this.
it?
Cirque du Soleil. No,
Okay.
you can say however you want.
No, look, it's not circus.
I thought it's
Cirque du Soleil.
Cirque Du Soleil.
I think the do is the part you're missing. Do.
Okay, Cirque du Soleil. There we go.
Close enough.
The Goodman. Sorry, Ryan, our editor's here. He's going to be angry.
Well, you
Okay.
don't have to edit that out. It's it's funny
Yeah,
with
just
that
leave
stuff,
it in.
right,
Okay.
folks?
Cirque Soleil.
Cirque souffle.
Cirque. I love Cirque Soleil, by the way.
Say Cirque
Cirque
souffle.
Filet. That's
Cirque
not what it is,
Souffle.
though.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Anyway,
Hey.
they have performed for them, and as a solo artist around the world, they are going to teach us all about the world of miming. Because miming, it's not what, Anthony? It's not rocket science. Are you frozen? Are you okay?
I just did a little mime.
You're having a
That
little
was not
glitch.
miming. I was trying to do I said it in my head because sometimes mime you don't speak, right?
That's pretty good mime right there.
Nice. Here they are, Dean Evans.
Hey everybody. Hey.
What up, Dean? A mime.
Mm-hmm.
This is so exciting. I'm so excited to have a mime in the studio.
I want to just start off and say I think it's pretty impressed. I'm impressed that you did Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
was-
Cirque du Soleil was awesome.
Nice. Well, thank you for being here. So how's it going? How you doing?
I'm good. Having a good morning. I've got my new mime swag on. I don't know if you saw this
the mime
t-shirt.
swag.
Yeah. Sometimes as a mime, you'll get like secret mime paraphernalia from other mimes.
Really?
And this mime on Facebook sent me this old school Marcel. This is Marcel Marceau, famous mime. Sent me some Marcel Marceau T-shirts with a little note about how he got them from back in the day, and now I'm wearing it.
That's a retro Marcel.
It is.
That's
It's-
really cool.
It is. It's old. I don't know. I think it's probably from the 80s, but
That's
yeah.
really cool.
I love
Yeah.
that.
When-
That's awesome.
When was Marcel in the game, I guess?
In the game, he was
Do you
in the,
know? Maybe you don't know.
Yeah, for a long time. I guess he probably started way back when in the 40s, And then he died, I believe, in 2004. But his kind of heyday was probably 50s, 60s, 70s. And he was still performing all the way up until he died. But he probably crescendoed, if I'm to use a musical / mime term, in the 60s, 70s.
So that is a little past prime T-shirt years.
Yeah.
From the 80s, that's a great shirt.
Yeah, the guy who sent me this really sweet note. He was like, I was the street mime for a local amusement park, and we were all taking a workshop when Marcel Marceau was in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and the workshop was sponsored by Domino's Pizza, and Domino's Pizza would like send the van over in the morning, and all the mimes would climb out of the Red Roof Inn and get in this van from Domino's and go to this studio and take a mime class with Marcel.
All of that is fantastic. The two of my favorite is Domino's Pizza, Red Roof Inn, a bunch of like really artistic mimes, Marcel. None of it makes sense.
None of it makes sense. And why doesn't Domino's Pizza sponsor or subsidize more mime workshops? They have yet to subsidize one of my workshops. Domino's, if you're out there, just send a couple pizzas to my class.
Make it right.
That would, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know
That's
what happened
amazing.
there.
So was he the first mime? Like,
No.
did he start it?
No. So he was kind of the first world famous mime in the era of modern times with TV and whatnot. But mime is ancient Greeks, and even before that. It's like some kind of basic human societal thing of visual storytelling with your body in front of people. It's probably from the beginning of time.
Right.
Yeah. But he was the one that he became super, super famous at the time when TV became, where there was a TV in every household, and he started doing TV appearances, and then also with like slang and New York on the theater scene, and he was kind of the first mass media mime, which was amazing, but also because of that, there's a good part of that, because he really was a wonderful guy and probably a genius, but it also imprinted that on everybody's mind, and the art of mime has a hard time getting out from underneath of his shadow.
Oh, yeah.
Because he had a specific look with the white face and the striped shirt, which is, of course, this beautiful kind of French look. But sometimes as a mime, it's hard to get out from underneath that. You kind of are always explaining to people what you're not when you're a mime. You're like, oh, I don't really wear that makeup. I don't really dress like that. But so Marcel Marceau is legendary, but also, he's like, you're always negotiating with people's perception of what you do.
That is so interesting. I can't imagine, like, for instance, any other platform. So let's say acting or comedy. If every comedian was based off of like Ray Romano.
Exactly.
Not that he is Ray Romano.
Right.
But just like, oh, that's weird. You don't look or dress or look like Jerry Seinfeld or Ray Romano. You do that still?
Yeah, that I think is a very accurate comparison. Yeah, like it would be like if the only comedian people knew were like Carrot Top.
Yeah, but it's just one person and everyone bases. That's probably really frustrating in a lot of ways. I mean,
yeah, for sure. It can be. I used to, when I first was a young artist, I would always be a little frustrated. Like, I'm an artiste. I don't perform on the street. I don't speak French, by the way. I don't know why I'm doing a French accent, but
It's very good.
See, it's
happens.
happening even
it
now.
It just happens. It happens. It soaks in.
You're supposed to be French.
Yeah, but I used to be a little more. I don't know. I guess it used to bother me more, but then eventually I just embraced it. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I love French accordion music and wearing tights and jumping around. Sure, I'll do that.
It's still fun.
Yeah, of course.
What is miming? Like, what is the definition?
That's a
of
good
miming?
question. It's not super easy to find, but the way that I define it is mime is visual poetry. So that's the pretentious way to define it. Sometimes I used to say, well, it's visual storytelling, but Mime doesn't always necessarily have a straightforward narrative. In fact, it's really good at not having a narrative, but it's essentially a performing art in which you use your body to create images to tell story, whether it's a narrative or abstract or whatever. And the reason why people will use the word poetry a lot in mime is because it does tend to have a layer of abstraction, which is what differentiates it from other types of performing. There are writing structures that are specific to mime that sort of include that kind of abstraction. You're taking images or scenes or vignettes and putting them together. It's actually probably closest to cinema, and cinema has been influential to mime. I can't say mime has been influential to cinema because who knows, maybe.
Like silent cinema?
No, just visual storytelling,
Oh,
the way
okay,
that
okay.
movies work, editing. Yeah. You do the same thing if you're storyboarding or you're writing a screenplay, taking the scenes and the transitions. All of those things that are important with cinema are in mime, too. Transitions and the concept of montage and tableaus and juxtaposing images so that the audience connects them in a way that gives them an experience. So that's what the art of mime is. And there's no rule that says you can't talk in mime. The kind of pretentious mime response to that is that you don't end up speaking because you don't need to, because the art form exists beyond the word. But that being said, you could talk, like you can. There are mimes that'll talk. Usually you don't talk like in the middle of a piece, and it's not because of rules about things you should or shouldn't do. It's just because when you introduce language into something that's purely visual, it creates like a cognitive dissonance. People have to shift gears a little bit, and so you typically won't do that. You won't sort of tether them to the process of parsing language when you're sort of trying to take them into this other world.
What I think everyone should realize about the mime, from what I'm understanding from you right now, is it's an artistic thing that doesn't have to be boggled down to specifics. Like, you don't have to wear the makeup. You don't have to wear the black and white shirt. You don't have to be from France, and you can talk. So it seems as if what you're saying is people should realize that it's definitely an artistic form that has open expression. You can do what you want with it because you're doing it, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's true. And it kind of, mime, like anything, there was a mime bubble that happened specifically in the United States in the 70s because of Marcel Marceau. The major schools of mime are France, which is probably the most popular one, and then Poland, where it's actually still popular today. There are many professional mime companies, and it's sort of just a popular thing in Poland. If you go see a mime show, they're kind of large scale. It's like going to the opera or something. And
Whoa,
then
cool.
it's a beautiful form of mime. It's a little more organic-y. It's like French has that kind of balletic feel, very upright, very charactery. And then Poland, it's very earthy, breathy, organic, a little more like modern dance. And then there's the American style. There are other styles too, but the American style came from buskers, which are street performers. And in the 70s, probably because of Marcel Marceau and just whatever, there was sort of this bubble. Everybody started to take the illusions, which really aren't. They are a byproduct of mime. Illusions, pretending, and you're touching invisible things. Some people call object work if you do improv. They sort of took those to the street as a way to, get attention and started writing their pieces around that concept of a character interacting with an object in the ether, and that kind of became the American style. And there was this bubble, so a lot of people were doing that and taking this one part of mime and just beating it over the head. And eventually it got to the point where there's so many people doing that it just became super annoying.
Sure.
It kind of lost that. It really comes from the theater, and it kind of lost more of the story and the environmental play, and Marcel Marceau was doing that, stories, characters, and he would say, and I tell my students too, that when you're doing your illusions, if you're a character and you're coming into your home and you are, hanging your coat on the rack and touching the wall, you actually want to do those illusions, that object work, not too good. because it will distract from your story. It'll become more of like a magic trick. And I don't diss mimes that do like perfect illusions. That's their thing. That's a uniquely American style of mime, and it's really cool. But it is a different thing. It's like, oh, there's like an invisible suitcase there, and it looks so real, and it really will distract from the general storytelling. But that there was a kind of a mime bubble. I have there was a mime academic journal, and I have some copies of it. It went all the way until like 2014, weirdly, but in the back of it, it's so funny. There's these really beautiful printed books that have all these, topics for contemporary mimes, and in the back there's like classified ads from like the 70s and 80s.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's so funny. And there's just like mime school after mime school after mime school. Like the theater world wasn't as consolidated into the major markets, New York, LA, Chicago. It was more spread out, and there was just like all these, come to do this workshop, come study with this person, and it was just like wild. There were tons of them. And that's where a lot of my teachers came from, is that sort of mime extravaganza that was happening.
They saw an ad in the back of a book.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know what specifically. Yeah, but yeah, they knew someone. And I'm from Ohio originally. I originally went to the school for mime theater, and it had been around for maybe like 35 years.
Where's that?
It's in Gambier, Ohio, which is a small town. It was on the college campus of Kenyon College, but not affiliated with the college. They would rent this dance studio in the summer, and it had been going for a long time, and Marcel used to go there. Stefan Nidzikowski, who's kind of the Polish master, still alive, teaching. But I went there, and I really was like one of the few people from Ohio that went there. It was a very international school, but I just like drove.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's all in Ohio too. So that's where you kind of, how did you find this school then? Were you just being a kid walking around like, what is that place? Or?
Yeah, well, so I didn't do theater or anything growing up, but I started going to college. I went to college for theater on a dare, having never seen a play before.
It's a very expensive dare.
It was. I was driving with my friend in the car, and we were both kind of like lost soul, like weirdos in Ohio. And I guess I was 23 at the time. I'd gone to community college, and I just worked with this guy, and we were driving by Ohio State University, which is this big giant university, and he was like, I dare you to pull over. We were driving on the highway by the admissions office, and he was like, I dare you to pull over and sign up for theater. And I was like, theater? I'd never even seen a play. I was like, okay. And we went in together, and we walked in. We were like, we want to do theater. And
they're like, why are you saying it that way?
Yeah. Probably. I definitely think the woman at the admissions office thought we were crazy. But since I had gone to this community college, she was like, well, you're already in our system. It was I didn't realize this, but it was kind of like the junior college for this university. And she was like, you're already in our system and accepted, so you can start next week. And so I think I was also looking to do something with my life. And so I started going and taking classes.
That's great.
And I saw my first play maybe like 3 weeks later. But one of my instructors was a mime. And I signed up for her class as a joke. I was like, oh, it'll be so funny. It'll be so stupid. A mime class? What in the world? But I knew that I did like movement. I was interested in that. And so I took her class. And I remember the first day I showed up, she was like, you shouldn't have been allowed to sign up. This is just for grad students for this one particular production.
Jeez.
Well, she was just curious more so. And she was like, are you actually interested in mime? And I was like, yeah. She's like, okay, well, yeah, if you're interested, you can take it. So I took the class, and then, I was good at it. Or I was good. I had no idea what we were doing. It was very Mr. Miyagi. Like, we were just doing what's called corporeal mime, which is kind of like, it's an old style of French mime that comes like before you learn contemporary mime, which is like you're being like Marcel, contemporary mime. This corporeal mime, it's very abstract, neutral face. I had no idea what we were doing, but it was a longer class, and about maybe like 12 weeks in, I was like, oh, and then I wrote a mime piece, and then she was like, you should go to the School for Mime Theater. And then during the summer, I went to that. And then I went every summer for like the next 5 or 6 summers.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were hooked.
I was hooked.
Yeah, you
I
did
was
it.
hooked. I enjoyed it, but I was also probably the first time I was good at something, or like the first time I got positive attention for something.
That's
you
great.
know? So I was like,
That's
oh, okay,
awesome.
I'll do this.
So prior to that, you had no. I know you said you didn't have any kind of wanted to do any theater or this and that. What was there some sort of artistic expression that you liked to lead you? Not saying that because I know it was a dare, but were you at all artistic prior to this?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely wanted to be an artist. I thought I was going to be a musician, although I lacked the discipline to become a good instrumentalist. So I was trying to be a musician. I was good at visual art. So I was creative, but I never really had the discipline to master anything. So I knew that I wanted to do something creative, but I wasn't exactly sure my angle. And ultimately, I think I got into theater really just because, there's a quick turnaround. It's not like where you're making an album and you have to spend so many years learning about music, getting good at music, and then creating all this work. And then you don't really get someone patting you on the back saying, good job, for years and years and years. Whereas theater is like, you work on it for like 6 weeks, and then a whole crowd comes
Right.
and they all clap and they all love you. And then whatever that was is what I needed at that time. And I was hooked.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Thanks for sharing that. Do you mind demonstrating like a brief kind of mime?
Like a mime thing?
Yeah.
Sure.
Or what was that thing you were saying that you learned first before you started the story?
Corporeal mime.
Can you show us?
Yeah.
Can me and you
Yeah.
do a basic, or all three of
Well,
us do
I
a
would-
basic?
Yeah, I was thinking you could demonstrate and then maybe teach us like some brief mime.
Yeah,
thing.
whatever you'd
Yeah.
like. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Corporeal mime is pretty tedious to learn, but I will show you some just to give you an idea.
Or just,
of,
just
something
like the
basic,
like
yeah.
climbing a rope. Or,
Yeah, whatever.
yeah, for
yeah.
sure,
this,
for sure,
you
for
know.
sure. So with corporeal mime, there's it's kind of really strict. But one of the things that you learn are isolations of your body, specifically inclinations and rotations of your spine. So they divide the spine: head, neck, chest, waist, pelvis. And this is just very basic corporeal mime. So you stand in neutral, perfectly straight up and down spine, and then something you practice is like incline your head to the right, and then it comes back, and then incline just your neck to the right, and then just your chest, and then you come back, and then your waist, and you come back, and then you learn to do it the other direction, and then you learn forward and backward for all that, and then once you have that, and you learn rotations: head, neck, chest. And stacking all these things on top. And then what you're trying to get to, what you're working towards, is being in what's called triple design, which means 2 inclinations and a rotation at the same time. And so my chest might be inclined to the right, rotate to the left, incline to the rear. And the purpose of that is so that when I'm doing a mime piece, I'm searching for something more beautiful, like a Renaissance paintings are all like that. All the paintings, there's a rotation. And mimes are always referencing that. Or like the chiaroscuro, the weight shifted to one side that's very asymmetrical. So if I'm a mime and I'm like reaching up to, pick an apple, if I do it straightforward and linear and I'm just thinking about the action, it's less dramatic and boring. But if you're a mime and you've trained in corporeal mime, when I reach for the apple, I'm going into triple design, so when I go up, it's just got this little extra drama to it.
Yeah.
And that's
Twist, too.
Yeah. So like you're thinking about that rotation. So that's something mimes practice is. So if I take like another basic principle of mime, which is point fix, like keeping your hands the same distance apart from each other. Or the opposite,
hard.
keeping your hands still while you move, which is where you get things like the wall. It's hard, but if you combine, say, like if I just do this and I'm pulling my rope and I'm doing good point fix, it's pretty straightforward. But if I do this and I can combine the triple design, right, it makes it like much more dramatic and beautiful and a little more like captivating. So that's sort of why you
That
learn
was
corporeal
awesome.
mime first.
I thought you had a rope here.
I did too.
amazing.
Yeah, that was hard. Even when I was doing that, my wrist felt tricky and just
Yeah.
I was obviously.
You need a water? There's some water right here.
Apparently not.
Or traditionally grapes. You would have grapes in a mime studio. I don't know
was
why.
amazing.
Yeah, do you mind like he was saying? Do you mind doing like a short story that you may have prepared? If you don't, obviously it's like asking somebody to do a stand-up routine. So please don't feel obligated.
Yeah, let me think. So I probably could think of something. My hesitation is not that I wouldn't want to do it. My particular style or body of work is definitely a lot of like character story based. So I don't have like a lot of stuff I can whip out. I can do little illusions
or
and
a
things.
character or something. But again,
yeah,
I know that's putting somebody on the spot, so I don't want to do that to you.
So there's one. Okay, well, maybe you two can help me with this one. So I've been trying to do this mime piece about reaching into a bird cage and pulling a bird out. It's for a longer piece based on this poem. So I've been working with how to mime that I'm holding a bird cage as opposed to just like a block or a thing. And what I'm trying to figure out is, one, I want to pull the cloth off the top. So that's a thing you do in mime, is you do object identification. So if I'm touching a cloth, my arm and my body is like a cloth, you know. Same thing if I'm touching a feather, then my whole body is like a feather. Oh. And if I'm touching a rock, my whole body's like a rock. So I've had this bird cage, and then I'm like lifting the cloth off of it and sort of doing some smooth kind of lyrical stuff. And then now I'm a mime describing what I do while I do it.
No, that's okay.
And I reach in and I grab the bird. And the new move that I've been coming up with is to be holding a bird and like show the rhythm of the bird with my hands. So that I'm not, so it doesn't look like I'm just like strangling it. So I've been practicing this, like of like holding it, you know, kind of fluttering
in your hand.
Yeah, with my hand. So that's my new move. Is my bluebird move.
Nice, I love that.
Yeah, that's what mimes think about a lot is rhythm. It's a little more like they use the word composition when you're writing a mime piece, because it is more so about the rhythm and what's called the musicality of movement. And in the viewer's brain, it is the same area of the brain that's interpreting music. So it is sort of different than language, which is why mime tends to be separate from language. When you watch mime, and that's the first lesson you learn at mime school, is you have to sing your piece. Not sing like, and then I open the refrigerator, but you have to like, you kind of do the sound of the movement before you even do it. You go on stage and you close your eyes and you're like, whoop, you know, and trying to make it really dynamic. So then when you do your piece, it's like, it's got lyrical parts and then staccato, and there's a lot of musical terms in mime too.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Thank you for demonstrating that.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem. I haven't quite figured that one out yet,
no,
but if
cool.
I'm going to bust it out.
No, that's that's very cool. It looked real to me. Like I thought there was a bird in the room. Don't worry about you, Anthony. I really
thought
did.
there was a bird.
Do you mind teaching us just a brief, like maybe like we're trapped in a cube or,
for
or
sure.
something? Just
for sure.
Yeah.
The wall. Yes.
Yeah.
So the main thing that people see when they see the wall is that point fix. Your hands staying in space while you move. But I'll give you a little inside baseball tip. That's not that hard to do. Like you could practice that, and after a little bit you'll have it. The way to really make your wall like, oh my gosh, this person is an artiste. Imagine you take your hand like just out in front of you.
Okay.
And you don't really want your hand to be so tense. Like it's like, just take your hand, relax, and just like a little drop of water, it goes like, poof. So your hand's got like a supple curve. This is called shell. So like your hand's like a shell. So sometimes they'll use like the top of your head. It's just like this relaxed hand. So then you see the wall. That's this mime is very psychological. You have to see the wall. And then you go to touch the wall with your shell hand. And then the moment you touch the wall, you just have a little impulse. It's a little like, right? And then you squish your hand on the wall. Then you see the other part of the wall where you're going to put your other hand, and then relaxed hand, and then you touch, right? And then you squish, right? And then just very gently, right? And then when you let go of your hand, you let go, relaxed hand. You look to the next spot, touch, squish, right? Relax the other hand, look, touch, squish. And so I'm not even really moving my body yet. I'm just practicing this hand when I'm touching and when I'm not touching. And then right there, like your wall's like already looking dramatic. And then you can throw in some point fix.
What's that point?
Point fix is fixing a point of your body in space. So like my hands are fixed, but my body's moving. So my hands are the point that's fixed, right? And that's essentially how you would mime a surface, right? And if it's a window, you use the focus of your eyes to let you see through. There's even a move I haven't done in a while where you like.
Oh, that's good.
That's tough.
Yeah, bust that one out.
So pointer.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, that's pretty good. Just kind of smushing your face against it.
I like that, Matty.
Yeah, those little like details like that go a long way. But really, like what gets overlooked with the wall is like if you have the psychology of it. The point fix part, the illusion part, is not so hard. But the psychology, like why are they? Because if it's just a person on a wall, like it just kind of looks like a person that's really having difficulty.
Yeah, why would you do that? Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why would you just
like
touch
if you were
a wall
just
like
on a wall, right? You just really up close.
That
Yeah.
is so fun.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. That
no
was
problem.
awesome. That was so cool. I can't wait to take your class.
Yeah, for sure.
very-
I want to take this too. I need it. I do. I think it's great.
It's amazing. So, can you tell us more about your class and what you offer and
Yeah,
all
sure.
that jazz?
So I teach mime. I teach a few things. I'm a mime and a clown and a Bouffon, which is a type of satirical clown. And I teach mime. So when I teach mime, I'm pretty straight on with the technique. We start with corporeal mime, and then we go into contemporary mime. But really my focus, which is the focus of the School for Mime Theater, where I went originally, was the writing and creation of how to start to piece together compositions. So when I teach a mime class, that's sort of part of it, of like taking these pieces and deconstructing pieces that exist and then starting to think about writing structures and getting students to write mime so we can get some like mime representation out there. So
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's my goal. And I teach every summer. I teach at the Celebration Barn, which is kind of like Celebration Barn's kind of like this like iconic physical theater training center in the middle of Maine. It was actually founded by a mime named Tony Montanaro.
It's a camp, right?
Yeah, it's a barn that's converted into like a really beautiful theater. And when I went there originally, I think it was like 2008. You actually slept in the barn. I mean, it's nice. There's not like hay and horses and stuff, but you slept in the barn. Now they've got these like nice little bungalows that you stay in. But it's you go there. You can take like clown or mime or all these different types of workshops. There's like embodied writing and then solo show workshops. And so I teach an immersion there where we work all day, and then in the evening every night the students have to write a new mime piece. And it's grueling, but it's super fun. And there's nothing else to do but mime there. So it's like, so I do that in the summer. And then in LA, I usually teach like 1 or 2 mime classes a year, like 6-week-long ones. And then I teach, during the pandemic, I started teaching online. When the pandemic started, I was in the middle of teaching a mime class. So then I started teaching online. And that kind of took off. It's called Mime Online. And I was teaching
It rhymes.
Yeah, it rhymes. Well, it was originally
that.
called Mime Online with Wine, and I would pair the class with a French wine. But after a while, I was like, I would literally finish a whole bottle of wine, and everybody, we'd just be wasted online. And it does help, like, you do get pretty loose and silly. I was like, it does, I could see why. But it just got to the point where I was like, I cannot, keep, drink. I'm not a huge drinker, but I was like, I can't. It's just, yeah, I was like, I got to chill with this Mime Online with wine. So now it's just Mime Online. Sometimes I'll test, I'll get if there's a new one and I'm in the mood, I'll pair it with the wine.
That's fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I was just thinking, and I do stand-up comedy, and I'm starting to do it more, but I think a lot of the times people will use mime in stand-up, and in improv as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that helps, stand-up comedians or actors or performers? Do you find it helps them in their performance to learn mime?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I also do improv. I did improv for years, especially in Chicago. And
Hey, Chicago man. I was a Chicago man.
Oh, really? Me
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I
Sorry
came
to
up in
interrupt.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I did improv a lot, and I definitely think it does. Now, on a basic level, mime is going to help you get more comfortable doing object and environmental and physical work in your improv. Like, it just gets more comfortable. Because I teach, and when I was in Chicago, I was teaching mime and doing improv. And I taught at Second City for years. And people would ask that question a lot. Is it going to help? What's it going to help with? What does improv need? And on a very basic level, it helps you get more comfortable initiating physicality, whether it's object work, activities, character. Comedically, it's really helpful to give people an understanding or let them feel what it feels like to be funny or tell a joke with their body. And that really comes from the precision and the economy of movement. It's the same as, like, I'll use in my class, like, there's not really, sometimes I'll teach a class like clown and physical comedy. And even though I am a physical comedian, there's not, teaching physical comedy in theory would be like having a class called comedy. Physical comedy is just comedy that you see. And, trying to teach someone comedy is like not really, it's like, what does that mean? Really, what physical comedy is learning how to be precise and have what's called economy of movement, meaning you're not doing any extra movement so that people can see what you're doing. The equivalent would be like if you're telling a joke, say like a classic joke with a punchline, you don't want your punchline has to be economically dictated. You don't want to just ramble on and on and on and on and mix up words and have people not understand. So that's kind of how physical comedy is. Like when people first start doing it, they're doing too much and you can't really see what they're doing. And a lot of mime is like stripping all that away so that people are precise and concise and that the audience can get hooked into like what's happening. And teach that. I'm actually teaching a slapstick class this weekend, and when I teach slapstick, it's all about that. It's just like, just be clear and simple. That's like the main thing that comes from mime that directly translates to improv or stand-up. And I have friends that do stand-up, and they'll do physical stuff. It also helps a ton just with character, learning how to change your body in a way that's different than your own. Yeah. But it's very helpful for stuff like that. Yeah, mime, the precision is, I think, like the real value for the comedians, the precision in the economy of movement.
That's so cool.
It is so cool.
No, you
go. Don't yell at me.
I like how polite you guys are with each other. You go. No, you go. You're really respectful.
Yeah.
May I? No, I'm just kidding. Is there a website that besides Mime? I'm sorry. There's no wine anymore. So Mime online.
Oh, Mime online. Yeah, if you go to my website, which is just dean.la.
And then they can find like the slapstick classes and their online classes.
Yeah, classes are listed on there. And Mime online now. It used to be every week. Now it's just the last Wednesday of every month. And there's a Zoom link on there. It's just donation based, but I always say people, it's like AA. We need you more than we need your money. It's like Mime AA. So just show up, So there's a Zoom link on there, and that's been nice because there's so many people out there that don't have access. I mean, it's like, where do you find a mime class in the world to begin with, or at least in the United States? They do exist, but it's like mimes are the worst at using the internet. Second only to clowns.
Really funny.
Clowns, it's like they're the worst. Mimes are hard. It's like you'd think from the internet there's no mimes. They're out there. They're doing workshops all the time, but they're just, I don't know what it is. There's some
it's
kind of,
because it doesn't exist. The computer's not there. They're miming to find it.
Exactly.
Well, also mime is like an artistic thing, so I feel like a lot of people spend a lot of time. So if you're doing this for years, then it's like,
you're not doing that.
Instagram, why is this computer around? I've been doing this thing for so long. Do you are you on Instagram and all whatnot?
Oh yeah. I use Instagram primarily to like promote shows and classes. But I'm on Instagram.
What's your Instagram? Yeah,
Mr. Dean Evans.
Kind of like a thank you so much for being here. Kind of a wrap up question, but what advice would you give someone that wants to be a mime? What would you tell them?
Well, first and foremost, just get some material and put it out there, and don't be afraid of being inspired by other mimes' works. Now, if you go on YouTube and you search for a mime, 90% of what comes up is just unwatchable swill. It's like, I don't know what's going on there. It's still fun to do. I Google mime all the time, but there is legitimate good mime stuff on YouTube now. There used to not be, but there you can find all of Marcel Marceau's work. You can find all kinds of great mimes. So like, is just fill yourself up with all that stuff, and don't be afraid to just put some of that on its feet. Like, try to write some stuff. It could be as simple as miming a wall or whatever it is, and just start getting it out there, because a little bit of mime goes a long way. People really do love watching it. So that's the main thing, is start practicing, whether it's mime online or even mime videos. I downloaded a mime instructional video the other day. It was like pretty great. There's other people that teach. Start learning and just start doing it. Start doing it. Even if it's like street mime, or someone hires you for their bar mitzvah to row a mime canoe around for an hour. Just like start doing it. I always say, be the first at being bad at it. Don't be afraid to be bad at it, and just do it. And then you'll find that you get better at it, but also it starts leaking into everything else you do. You do start developing a vocabulary, and there are very amazing, completely self-taught mimes out there. So my advice is just like, get out there, do it, put stuff on its feet, and don't be afraid to just be an insufferable, horrible mime.
This is really funny that you mentioned that mimes are bad with the internet, because I remember typing object work, how to do object work basics on YouTube, mime basics, nothing on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's true. Like, I couldn't, like, I was like,
Oh, wow.
how do you pick up a can? I literally was like, how do you, because I was like, maybe it has to be very specific. So I was like, how do you pick up a can mime? Nothing.
It's funny that you mentioned that. There's obviously infinity ways to do it, but there's a corporeal mime way of picking up a can, and it's broken down into 26 movements
For a can.
Yeah, and it's so funny. It's like, I don't know who in the world would do. I mean, and it's very serious. It's like, it's so funny to me, and
Can
I
you
do
do
a whole.
it? Do you remember how to do it?
I could probably do it. I don't know if I could do all 26, but let me see. Let me back up, and we'll see if I end up at 26. But I don't exactly remember. So
Yeah.
the can is down here, like on a table. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Shoot, I missed 2. I don't know where the extra 2
wild.
are.
This one's a
We
weird
wouldn't have
one.
noticed.
Yeah,
You
it's like a
coulda just made it.
cheers.
Oh, cheers. Wow.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's strange. And it's like, who in the world, I don't think it's necessary to do all that, but corporeal mime is all about like training your body to just be as detailed and precise as possible, so it does come in handy. But I've never once in my life broken down a simple activity into 26 moves and performed it that way on stage.
Right,
I'm
right.
usually just thinking like,
Free
just
flowing.
pick it up.
Right, right, right.
You know another one I looked up? The stairs and the elevator. I looked up how to do that. Nothing. You can't find that. Like,
Well, he'll have to teach us. We'll
So-
take
yeah,
his
I-
class.
Oh yeah, for sure.
by
Stairs.
the way, I was gonna say, whenever your next class is, which do you know when it is yet? Do you have?
Yeah,
I know it's
I don't
end of
have the
month.
exact dates. My next mime class will start in early November on Monday evenings at 6:30. I gotta solidify the dates, but it'll start
Online
yeah.
or-
no, in person.
Oh,
I'm gonna
cool.
do it in person.
Oh, nice.
But the wine, I'm sorry, the wine one.
Mime online with wine.
Do you know when the next one? Because I'm gonna say, if you want to take a class with us,
Yes.
we are gonna take
for
this
sure.
class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll all take the class
Yeah.
together.
That sounds great.
Oh, you should. Yeah, it's the last Wednesday of every month, so I think it's like that's like October 28th, I think, something
All
like
right.
that. But
Okay.
it's 6 p.m. There's a Zoom link on my website and on my Instagram, and hop in there. It's it's free and it's really fun. There's like a good group that always comes. There's a nice community around it. We do mime for like an hour and then we like hang out for a little bit.
Oh wait, yeah. Is
that's
it
awesome.
open? I guess I shouldn't
It's
say
completely
it's
open.
Free, yeah.
Anybody can come.
Well, and it's
That's
donation.
awesome.
Yeah, but I was just like, I'm just inviting everybody to your party.
Oh my gosh, come.
Well, it's online.
Yeah, it's online. I can kick people out.
Yeah. I was like, wait, maybe I should ask first. We're gonna be there,
Nice.
and I'm gonna show up at your house. No, I'm not.
Hey, you're always welcome. That'd be
Thank
fun.
you.
Come over. Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully, I can get online. The mimes and clowns that want to join can
Oh,
get
for sure.
online.
So if you want to
Yeah.
because
do
of
that,
computers, I'm just,
Yeah,
just kidding.
they're bad. They, at this point, they've figured out Zoom. But
I know. I'm
yeah.
just kidding. I'm
I
just
know.
kidding.
come in October, we will remind you that
October
we're gonna all
28th.
do. We're
Yeah.
gonna do this class, and you can take the
Yeah, you
class
can
with
join
us,
us.
which
Yeah.
will be
Yeah.
really fun.
Well, thank you so much, Dean, for being here. It was so great talking with you. You're the best. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Yeah.
Thank
Really
you too.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
Fist bump. Fist
Yeah.
bump.
I don't know. Yeah, it's
Awesome.
weird. It's nice. Feels good.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the end of the interview.
Awesome.
Yeah. You're the best. Thank you, Dean.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, that was awesome. That was really, really cool. Thank you so much, Dean. That was very fun. We're definitely going to take your class. And before we go, our studio plant, Greg, wanted to show us some of his miming skills. So here we go. Greg, show us your miming
To you,
skills.
Greg.
Hi, Matty and Anthony. I'm here to show you how I mime if you don't mime. Bye, guys.
Wow. Thanks, Greg. That was something. That really was something. What do you think, Anthony?
It was something. With Greg, it's always something.
It was
yeah?
something.
Hey, I got a good challenge for myself. How do you think I can drink this full can without one breath? Ready?
Yeah. That's really good. Well, that's our show. Thanks for watching and listening.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah. Like and subscribe to help the algorithm. And also, please comment on YouTube or on Apple Podcasts. Share with your pals. And we have our first field trip, a live event coming up October 12th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's a live, not rocket science event or a field trip. And Anthony and myself have an art. We're going to be showing art. That's right. And Melissa Villasenor will be showing art too. And Andre Highland.
Many more artists too,
Yeah.
my friend. But to go to the field trip, you have to. I repeat, you have to get a permission slip.
You do. You can't come without one.
You
so.
can't come without a permission slip. You could get in trouble without one of those.
Yeah.
You must be 21 to come to our field trip, so it doesn't matter. Anybody can give you a permission slip too. Can they give themselves the permission slip?
I don't think so.
You got to get it from somebody else. Please email
And
your.
it has to be signed.
It has to be a signed,
Permission
documented permission slip. And for us to receive it, please email your.
Get a witness if you can.
Yeah.
Signature.
A notary republic, isn't that what
Yes,
it's called?
A notary. Get a notary if you can.
No, you gotta go. You gotta go get it that professional. It's very
Yes.
professional. And once you do all of that, you have to get somebody to give you permission. They have to sign it. You have to sign it. Then you have to email it to us. And please email your permission slips to notrocketsciencepod@gmail.com. That is gmail.com. and we will read them here on the show. Also, remember again that the field trip is 21 and up. Even though you have to have a permission slip, you do need to be 21.
Yes. We hope to see you there, and please send your permission slips in. So Ryan, our producer, editor, has a permission slip that we got.
Mr. Shingles himself.
Yeah, Mr. Shingles. He's going to hand us the permission slip, and Anthony's going to read it.
Very small fold. Whoa. What a permission slip.
It's like a poster.
I know, it's crazy. And it says, me, Anderson Johnson, will allow me, friend, Tanderson Blonson, access to the art show. Me, vouch that Tanderson is 21. Sincerely, Anderson Johnson. There's a scribble under there. Oh, it's just a tomato sauce.
Yeah, that's a tomato steak.
Well, thank you so much. It's so nice. They need the permission slip. Ah! Dang it! I ate the. You've got to send a new one. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I just ate the permission slip.
Yeah, you ate the permission slip.
How embarrassing! I need to wipe it down. Wipe it down. Wash it down.
So be curious, keep learning, because after all, learning isn't what, Anthony? It's not rocket science. Thank you, and blast off.
Nice milk.
That's our show.
It's not rocket science.
Not rocket science. Science. Not rocket science.
It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science.